Whenever your heart is broken, don't ever forget you're golden. I will find the light in your soul, I'll be there. Never leaving you in the darkness, even when you're out of focus. I will be the light in your life, you'll see it clear. I'll be your inspiration, 'cause I know that you'll do just what you're told. I'll be your harder temptation, 'cause I know that you'll make it on your own. Baby, you can count on me now. When you're falling down, 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 I will find the light in your soul, I'll be there. Leaving you alone is the hardest, even when you're out of focus. I will be the light in your life, you'll see it clear. I'll be your inspiration, 'cause I know that you'll do just what you're told. I'll be your harder temptation, 'cause I know that you'll make it on your own. I'll be your inspiration, 'cause I know that you'll do just what you're told. I'll be your harder temptation, 'cause I know that you'll make it on your own.
Wow, welcome to AngelBay, episode 1, of course, provided by Entrepreneur.capital and our friend Eduardo. And it's great to have you all here from around the world. My name's Maxwell, and I'm from One Golden Nugget, and I'll be your host for this evening, introducing you all later on to the various guests. Okay, so let's not get into the show without telling you that you can, of course, post. Put your comments, please, on the Zoom so we know your questions or anything like that. Please put your various LinkedIn and details there as well so we can all contact you later on. It's going to be a fantastic show. Just to let you know, all the participants will be muted, and, of course, please respond to any unmute request. So, without further ado, I've got to introduce you to the man who put all this together. An angel himself. AngelBay is run by this gentleman. And it is, of course, Eduardo X. Eduardo, welcome to the show, and please tell everybody all the wonderful things that are about to happen.
Thank you, Maxwell. But I'm freaking out because my head is so big. I don't know how to fix the camera. This just happened when I changed the view. Like, how could this happen? Like, and well,
I tell you what. You have a quick look, my friend. I don't think your head's that big. I think you've got a heart of gold. So just take some time, have a quick look.
I was born with a big head, my friend. I know that, but now it's even bigger on the camera. Okay, let's kick the show. Let's start the show. So, welcome everybody. I will just share the screen here. So if anybody can't access for some reason, just go to the Zoom and chat there, or chat in any of the what we have, you know. So we have a lot of channels open today. We're like streaming everywhere. So a quick introduction is that the reason we decided to you could say, I will have to remove everybody here and see if my head becomes smaller. That didn't help. Anyways, yeah, you have to live with my big head. The reason we started, you could say, like the concept behind AngelBay was that we didn't like the expression shark tank. Like we don't like sharks. That's the reason we started Entrepreneur Capital. For me, a shark represents a person you don't want to do business with. Like nobody bites me of my friends. Like, so you can say that on Angel Bay is kind of the opposite of a shark tank. It's like, no, you will not get judged because we honor that you stand on the stage. We know what it takes to go there. We failed 100 times. We cried. We bled, right? So that is kind of our answer to how we should think it should be, and that is actually Angel Bay. So the first episode of Angel Bay is to describe like what is an actual entrepreneur, what is a business angel, and what is a venture capitalist, to put out the map for people, because people I meet, they're really confused. They don't understand, especially entrepreneurs. They think like an business angel is the same as a VC, and they treat them like that, and then they lose the angels like when they give the same evaluation, for example. So there's so much misunderstanding. So what we want to do is educate, I would say, so people understand and don't miss opportunities, because that's what they're doing now actually when they don't understand the landscape, I would say. So that is a series now that we have of the second episode will be the same. This one is Meet Entrepreneurs. You will meet some amazing entrepreneurs from all around the world. But we failed with inclusion and diversity. Like it was only men. So we said next episode is the same, but ladies only on stage. And after that, we will get to know the angels and the entrepreneur capitalists, venture capitalists. And after that, we're going to actually have an introduction to like scaling and incubator and environments. And the grand finale is actually a live pitch, Angel Bay, to 10 VC companies and 20 strong active angels that will actually put up money on the table if you have what it takes for them to believe in you, actually. So this is a series, you could say, that is going to be amazing. So today what we have is that we have an amazing lineup. I would say people I have befriended that actually represent the soul of Entrepreneur Capital, because we are an invited only network. Is people that are doers, not so much talkers, that actually scale businesses. So the only thing we have done is that we have put a brand and a name to it, but we're doing the same thing. We're co-venturing together, either in projects that we want to do ourselves or we want to invest in other companies. So that is what we stand for, you could say. Like I said, we want to be angels all the way, like between each other and to the community also. So I give it over to you, Max, and we need to see if Frank Carvajal has joined, and we'll have to jump to the next one. I think we will go for Enrique or Chris. Who wants to go first? Okay, Enrique. So let me jump to that slide. I will give over to you soon, Max. Yes, I'm going to just prepare the slide for you.
Well, Enrique Acosta Gonzalez, as a leader, I'm looking for your question. Are leaders born, I should say, looking for your answer, shouldn't I? Sorry. Are leaders born or made, and how to become one? How have you sort of found those things in your life, and what would you say to other entrepreneurs here on Angel Bay?
Oh, well, thank you, first of all, for having me. It's good to be with you, Max, and the group. This is a question that most people have always battled to answer. And I'll tell you, in all the years that I have been growing up as a leader or been a leader, uh, I've seen both things to be true. Some leaders are born and some leaders are made. How do you differentiate between the two? Have you ever been in a room where someone just spoke and everybody listened? That's usually a leader that is natural. They have charisma. They have the right speech, the right words, the tone. They can get folks to gravitate to them without much to do. And usually that comes with the fact that they were born with some abilities and some talents that they easily employ to get a job done. Right. And then you have others that maybe couldn't do that at first, but realized that with a little help on the education side, with a little help with public speaking side, and they start to take all these tools and implement them in a way where they can actually become on par with a natural born leader. So there are two real avenues to get to leadership. Now, I will tell you that although someone is born with certain attributes, it does not make them a leader. The point where others start to follow you is when you become a leader. I often tell folks that if you aspire to become a leader, practice with yourself first, right? Because once you get into leadership, people will pay for your faults, people will pay for your successes. And that's a bad time to start trying to practice whether you're a leader or not. So start with yourself. Um, and how to, people will say, how do you start with yourself? Just think about it. Can you convince yourself to do something that is in your best interest, that won't harm someone else, but will ultimately provide an example for someone else to actually imitate and they become successful? If you can do that with yourself, then I think you're safe to explore leadership as a whole, where you start taking people under your wing and start driving actions that will result in their betterment, in their success. So there are some born, there are some made, and collectively, if they take people into account, they'll do the right thing so that others can become one as well.
Well, that is a fantastic answer. Can I ask you, when did you find that you were a leader, and how did you know? That's my question to you.
Yeah, it's a great question. And I'll tell you that I spent many years being a leader. Now, this is very critical for people to understand. I spent many years being a leader and not being my own leader. I was able to lead others, but failed drastically and miserably in my own life.
Wow.
That's when I realized that I was not a leader. At that moment in time, I focused and said, okay, you can't do this any longer. The charade is up, but you can turn around and you can learn these things for yourself. And that's when I became a leader, when I started doing it for myself.
Wow. Now that's a fantastic answer. I'd like to say thank you very much. Is there anything else you'd like to add at all? Because obviously we've got lots of great people to come, but that was a fantastic answer and very honest as well. So thank you very, very much, Enrique. So I think we're probably going to move across to our next slide.
Could I
and our
just
next
pitch in
guest.
something there, please? Hello?
Say again, Eduardo. You also got a slapback on there, I'm afraid, mate, from somewhere.
Okay, can you? I think it's that Zoom thing. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Uh, don't use Zoom for this kind of solutions. It's 1 second.
I tell you what, Eduardo, just a quick one. I think we'll have a quick chat for a second while there's a couple of slapbacks there. I think we've got some feedback from StreamYard and all sorts.
Yeah.
Enrique, whilst Eduardo's sorting that out, okay, whilst he's sorting that, so Enrique, tell me if we can. I don't know.
Maxwell,
Yes.
do you hear double voices?
Not anymore.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, the studio was about to crash almost. We will never use Zoom again, just so you know. We're doing it professionally, not amateur. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to say that Enrique Acosta Gonzalez has been the most biggest leader inspiration that I have been doing my research 5 years to come out with my books. And I would say he's one of the most research, read, and experienced leadership guru on LinkedIn today, I can tell you. And we're going to write some stuff together, and he's going to join my book also. So I have to say, Enrique, it's a blessing having you here, man.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Okay, who wants to go next? Chris.
Okay, so next up, I'll introduce you in just a second, Chris. Your screen is going to come up in just a moment. So this is Chris Besic, co-founder of Outcome, best-selling author, speaker, board advisor, and investor. And the question, as you can see on your screen, Chris, is the importance of culture in a startup, and what is innovation culture? Over to you, sir.
How long have we got? Because it's a massive question.
Oh well, I'll tell you what. I've been given strict instructions. So how about, I don't know, up to 5 minutes
Right.
with your brilliant insight.
Let me try and trim it down. So I think there's two things. One, the importance of culture in a startup and the importance of culture in general in any organization. So for anyone that's listening out there, whether you're a startup, whether you're an entrepreneur who's literally just about to start their first thing, whether you're a startup with 5, 10, 20 people, whether you're a corporate with 100,000 people, culture is the glue that holds organizations together. Why is it important that we get culture right as a startup? Look at all of the lessons that we see from organizations all over the world over decades, where they've achieved what startups want. They've scaled, they've become big global brands, they've got hundreds, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of staff. And look at the challenge that almost all of them face, right? Leadership, Enrique's just talked about the importance of leadership, but culture. What's one of the things that absolutely kills organizational performance? Culture. Toxic culture, bad culture, even an average culture doesn't get organizations where they need to be in the world that we operate in today. And then the big challenge is when we then add, as in your question, we add the word innovation in there. So imagine all of the things, and everyone listening will know the things that innovation requires, creativity, empathy, phenomenal leadership, human centricity, all of those rich ingredients that when you put them all together, hopefully, if you're solving the right problem and you do it in the right way, you create and do something innovative. Imagine all of those ingredients and trying to bring those alive in an organization where the culture just isn't right, where the leadership style isn't right, where the management style isn't right, where there's no time and resources, where there's no psychological safety, where you fear about, you fear taking risk or challenging the status quo. All of those things, those ingredients, those habits, those beliefs, those values, they all constitute culture. And unless we get those right, it's almost impossible for an organization to thrive in the complex environment that we all have to thrive in today. So even more so for a startup, don't leave it too late to start thinking about culture and values and habits and how you lead and how you work together, because the challenge is you end up like one of the big corporates that 4 or 5 years down the line, you've scaled, you're doing really well, and then talent starts to leave, performance drops because you've taken your eye off culture in pursuit of growth and scale. So innovation culture is in essence all of those ingredients, like I say, empathy, human centricity, things like ethnography and observation of people and values and habits, all of those things that constitute our ability as an organization to do really profound, amazing things, to make the world better, to shape the future, etc. All of those ingredients, that in essence is an innovation culture when it becomes part of the fabric and the day-to-day of an organization. It's more important now, I think, and not just because I wrote the book Building a Culture of Innovation, but it's more important now than I think it ever has been. One, in terms of being able to shape the future and build a better future and solve really wicked problems, but two, in terms of organizations being able to attract the best talent, to show that they're creative, that they're doing the right thing, that they're purpose-led, all of those things, and then retain that talent in order that they can continue to be creative and innovative.
Well, Chris, you mentioned your book there. Perhaps you would later on type it into the chat so everyone can have a look and find it. Oh, yeah. Go on, put it on the screen. There we go. Building
I'll type
a culture of innovation. There we go. By Chris Bezic. Chris, please put that down in the chat so everyone can find it as well at some point. Can I ask you just briefly, because there's a minute or so left before I need to move on. When was it you first decided that culture was important over just the structure that businesses have been doing for so long? When did culture suddenly change for you?
So in under a minute, I'll give you a really 100-mile-an-hour history. Like Enrique, I've been through what I call the leadership sausage machine. I was an entrepreneur. I was a startup founder. I then built and scaled several businesses. I've been a CEO, and like people will know from Eduardo, I'm massively burnt out in the mid 2000s. And like Enrique, I realized that even though all my team said you're one of the best leaders we've ever worked for, I failed as a leader because I didn't look after myself, and that was where the burnout came. But I sold my businesses in 2008, moved into the advisory and the consulting sector, and started to advise others on how to lead for innovation, etc. And what I realized was, yes, leadership was important, but a leader's role was to build the environment where innovation can flourish. And fundamentally, that is all about people and culture. So organizations all over the world are talking about needing to innovate and building labs and tools and frameworks and methodologies and canvases. Fundamentally, all that is all necessary. But the reality is, when it comes down to it, people, leadership, and culture trumps tools and frameworks and canvases all day long.
I totally agree with you. People do business with people, and people who like people do better business. So Eduardo's come back on screen, which means it's time to move on. Chris, thank you so much, and thank you very much for that additional question there. It was a wonderful answer. So over to Eduardo.
Yeah, Chris, you're such a big inspiration. Like for me, finding the answers to why are big corporates so dysfunctional. I came over all these people like Chris Dyer, Chris Beswick, and for me it was like talking with people that have actually the experience, not only the research done, but actually done it, right? It's such an inspiration, right? And this is what annoys me is that like the Agile Manifesto was written in 2001, and they say they have all this, right? Like people over process, like, and we're doing the same mistakes again. Like, how hard can it be? People first, process second, technology last. Why does change take so long time, Chris Beswick, for corporates to understand that the future of work is humanizing and other factors, not AI or whatever that they think is first?
Yeah, look, all those things will always, like, they will always be in flux. There, several years ago it was AI, right? Then it was VR, right? Then it's digital transformation, and there's always going to be something that organizations need to evolve to. The constant through all of that has always been people, right? Digital transformation, then it's AR, and all, now, then, the Internet of Things, and there's always the next generation of tech and evolution. The constant is always people, brilliant culture, brilliant leadership, And all of that in pursuit of a brilliant strategy. And look, Drucker said years ago, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And I think pre-Lehman Brothers, in a really linear, predictable world, that was true. What I say now, in a less linear, more unpredictable world, is strategy, leadership, and culture need to eat breakfast together. And that's the system that we need to shift towards in companies.
Well, Chris, that's a fantastic comment. So, Eduardo, I know you'd love to ask another question, and I guess what? We're bound to have Chris back, right? So what we're going to do is say thank you, Chris, and we're going to move on to the next contributor. Chris, thank you very much. We'll meet you in the chat rooms at the end. I'm sure there's going to be loads of people want to say hello. Is that okay?
Yeah, is that on here or on Zoom?
I believe it's here, Eduardo. That's correct, isn't it? We're on this one?
Right,
yeah,
I'll just stay here. Right,
we're going to have
Zoom,
breakout rooms after. Diedrich is one of the main speakers today, also with his spot that I'm going to be Business Angel in. And yeah, you can talk with each other. That is what Entrepreneur Capital is about, co-venture with each other.
Sure.
Don't ask me
I'll
for
stay
permission.
on here and questions, whatever.
Yeah. Let me see here.
So, Chris, just before you go and disappear off, I know your mic's muted, but please put your book details down for everybody to see. Yep. That's what we're all about here. AngelBay and entrepreneurcapital.com. That's what we're all about. So, Eduardo, the next person up is...
It is actually the amazing, the one and only Frank Carvajal, actually. I'm going to just make the sharing works here. 1 second. This Zoom thing is messing up the whole show, actually. I will forbid Zoom on all our events from now on. Okay, here we go.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, coming up next is Frank Carvajal, of course, co-founder of Outcome, best-selling author, speaker, board advisor, and investor. Frank, it's good to have you on the show. How are you doing, sir?
That's great, the music. Good afternoon and good evening to folks in Europe. Maxwell, are you in Europe?
Yeah, I'm. Well, you could call it London, but I'm a bit further south on the south coast. The only problem I've got, Frank, here is that the question is on the slide before, and I just need that back. So the question was, sure. Eduardo. I do apologize. Let me just have a look. While the screen is gone, I do apologize, my friend.
Do apologize, but for the people on Zoom, I'm going to kill Zoom now. So don't go to Zoom.
Okay. Well, we've got a bit of a tech issue with Zoom. No worries about that. Next time, that won't be an issue. So
yeah, because we will not use Zoom again. So that is how we solve it here. We're pragmatical people. That is what entrepreneurship is all about.
Oh, hey, that's interesting, Eduardo. I just I live in the Silicon Valley, and I drove by this sign yesterday that said 70% of corporate America uses Zoom. So you're
Zoom is not. Yeah, Zoom is not made. Yeah, it's nothing to do with that. Zoom is for talking with other people in group talks. It's not made for this. This is actually StreamYard. It's other medias.
Yes. Okay, so let's do this again, okay, because then we can edit this on the actual other version. For live people, thank you so much for sticking around. The Zoom is gone, as you know. Hopefully you can join us again if you were on the Zoom. So we have Frank Carvajal. Sorry, again. Carvajal. Sorry, I was trying to read it. I got it right the first time, Frank. I do apologize. The question is great leadership and why you started the Silicon Valley Latino Leadership Summit. And I'm sure this is going to be a fascinating story. Over to you, sir.
Sure. Thank you so much, Maxwell. And I'd like to give a heartfelt thank you to Eduardo. Eduardo is a dear friend, and he invited me on today, as well as Eduardo being a person that is on the team of SVLLS. He is a person with a big heart. But with the Silicon Valley Latino Leadership Summit, it actually started in 2010. And why it started was because in 2008, I was fortunate to be published with my first book Building the Latino Future, Success Stories for the Next Generation. And as many know, in 2009, with the market crash, I had to do what we do today, pivot. I don't like using the word pivot so much because I believe it's overused. So I like to say action. We needed to take some action. And with that, I was fortunate to have a person by the name of Dick Gonzalez in my book, Building the Latino Future. And so I had asked Dick if he and I could meet for lunch. And lunch or coffee is so important. In person, I believe, is the most important way to move a needle. And so Dick had mentioned, well, with this market crash, what's going on with your book? And I said, well, it's slowed down. The momentum has slowed down so much that a person by the name of Jeff Bezos also acquired all of the Border books and many of the Barnes and Noble. And, folks aren't really purchasing my book. And he says, well, you could go through Amazon, but at the same time, have you thought of a leadership summit? Meaning bringing folks together one day that not necessarily will purchase your book automatically, but will get to meet some of these thought leaders from the Silicon Valley. And I said, well, that's great. I said, that's a huge undertaking, but who are my speakers? He's like, you already have the recipe. You have the formula. I'll be one of your first speakers. So Dick Gonzalez, who, as an corporate executive, provides a lot of leverage, was my first speaker, and others jumped on board. And with that, it was essentially easy to pitch to sponsors to buy into the Leadership Summit. And I say buy in because my first book, Ken Blanchard, one of the most thought-provoking thought leaders of all time, and absolutely. Today he's 81, is a person like Dr. Stephen Covey and others, that there's 5 that are really great leaders. He wrote the foreword for my first book, so sponsors were on board. And the first summit was on Sand Hill Road in 2010, on Sand Hill Road, being the venture capital mecca of the world, sold out. And so the second annual moved on to Stanford University, Stanford Faculty Club, and then it started bringing many folks across the country to one place for one day. And during the pandemic in 2019, 2020 was a scheduled 11th annual summit. But with COVID, what's important for me was safety of others, not being selfish, but being selfless. And that's what I've learned from the great Ken Blanchard, servant leadership and caring for others. So it was postponed 3 times, Maxwell. And today, thank goodness, thank God, that it is scheduled and set for October 8th, 6 months from now.
Excellent. Again, with yourself, sir, please make sure you put your book down for those people who may not have had the pleasure of reading it so far. Please put those details on the chat as well.
Sure, I'll do that.
Could you put the book up, please?
Oh, yeah, it's right here.
Can I ask a question quickly? What was your hardest time during this period, Frank, under the pandemic?
The hardest time as far as writing the book?
Or I would say your hardest time, and something quickly that
Sure.
you want to share with the world, because according to me, you are like my personal Uber mentor, and according to me, and I say this, you have like the highest combined IQ and EQ on LinkedIn today. That is the reason so many people follow you, Frank. That's the reason so many big stars in US want to befriend you, my friend.
Oh, well, thank you so much. For me, it's on Amazon, the book. For me, it is really an honor for you to say that, but it's something that I've learned from my parents. My mom, dad, right behind me. The thing that I've learned is humility. I think humility is the core element of a person's leadership. There's layers. I use the metaphor and the example of an onion. You peel through layers, and that core is the humility. It makes us cry, it makes us laugh, and I think that is a reminder of who I am as a person, because my parents were migrant farm workers, and they picked onions. And so for me, it doesn't fall far from the migrant fields. And during the pandemic, the hardest thing for me, Eduardo and Maxwell and the audience, is I'm a father of a special needs daughter, and she's severely disabled. I'm a father of 3 daughters, but my daughter Mila, who's right next to me as we speak, the pandemic was very scary for me because, being compromised as far as immune system and things that were happening for the past 2 years pre-vaccination, and I'm pro-vax person because I've seen people die. I think that was the hardest part, was really being on alert 24/7. And Eduardo, I know you're a great father to your son, and it's important for me to share that we have to be vulnerable in order to become greater leaders. Vulnerability is the key for leadership.
Eduardo, I've got to say that many of the wonderful people I know, you and I both know, are in, can we say, similar places and have similar things that have happened. And one of those understandings has come across to me. Those people who've had adversity in other places in their lives have become far better at being business leaders. And it's a wonderful story that you share with everybody.
No,
And
thank
not
you.
only that, Frank actually takes the time to listen to people, When I felt really bad, Frank answers, He even asks how you're doing, So it's an honor for us to be a sponsor in your event, hermano. I really mean that. You're so special thing in my life, man. I could listen all day to you talk.
Well,
But we need to move on, man.
yeah,
Well-
no, I know. We could talk all day. Thank you,
Hey,
guys.
Frank, thank you so much, sir. What a wonderful time. You'll definitely be back, I'm sure, because obviously Eduardo's...
Can I have Eduardo take a picture real quick, Eduardo?
Yeah, let's
go
take the
for it.
picture, man. Me and Frank, we have so many pictures with Frank. We don't share, but I love my picture with Frank.
This
There you
is the Latinx Business Success Book with Frank.
Thank you all.
There you go.
Thank you.
We'll speak
Have a
again soon, sir. So, Eduardo, thanks very much. A wonderful answer to that, and very personal as well from Frank. So, who's up next? Okay, so this gentleman, I've met this fella before as well. A wonderful guy, and obviously this time we're going to be careful with some of the words as well. No doubt from our last meeting. This is Diedrich Martins, and he is the founder and CEO of BizBot. I believe you're up in Norway, is that right, Diedrich?
Yeah, thanks.
Diedrich. Yeah.
Yeah, Didrik, thanks for the introduction. And yes, I'm in Norway, Oslo, Norway.
Excellent. So we're very truly global tonight. So the question is, Diedrich, how does an entrepreneur come back when falling down from the horse?
Yeah, so I guess in the question, I guess it's obvious that I have fallen from the horse at some point, and I did. Short story, started a company back in 2008 while I was still studying. I was running this company for about 7 years, and eventually we had to close it down. And I remember I got a lot of questions when I announced that we had to close the business down. Everybody asked me, "Oh, how are you doing? How's it going? You must feel bad." But as I mentioned a few times when I talk about this, that's when I actually felt relief, because for me the pain was up until we decided to close the business down. And now it was like, you're trying to break up with your girlfriend, but when you finally do it and it's the right thing, then it feels good. So that was kind of strange that all the sympathy came later when I actually felt better. So that was kind of strange. But getting back up again, I've thought about it many times, because obviously I had to look for something to do. I mean, you have the financial situation. There is no more pay, the salary. Luckily in Norway, we have this, the government will pay you some cash when you don't have a job, but eventually you need to find something. So first I started to look for a regular job, and I started to evaluate and see what am I good at after being an entrepreneur. And I realized that I'm not good at anything. I'm just, in general, I can do lots of small things, more like a general manager or like a project manager. I know a little bit about everything, but not too much. And everyone was looking for a salesperson or a marketing person or something specialized. And then my background was not wide enough. And I realized I also looked a little bit in, I mean, I think my kind is needed where you need innovation, because my experience is based on that. So I guess I could have found a job, but I learned more about myself. But at the same time, I took all the learnings from my first failure, and I looked back and said, what can I do better? So I realized, who am I in the team? And who do I need in my team to do a great job? I didn't think too much about that. I also thought a little bit about culture. I mean, not just who on your based on your experience. Who are you? Are we a good match? Are we good teammates? Very often you look for people that are the same as you, and you shouldn't. You should look for somebody different, but still who can be in the same culture. And then I thought, why did I fail? And I realized that I did a lot of work that was kind of very exhausting for me, and that was the business administration. So I thought about, what if I made a digital co-founder? What if I made a business robot who could do all the administrational work for me on a platform? And that's what BizBot is all about. It's your digital co-owner, co-founder, and this idea is meant to help you on your journey from the start to the beginning. And the way Facebook knows you as a person, I want to know your company so we can help you the best way, no matter what you're doing or where you're doing it. That will also make the world more equal, because I saw a lot of entrepreneurs with great ideas and they just stopped because they couldn't even incorporate the company. It was too much hassle. I know a lot of people who could invest a little bit or a lot, but they don't know how to do it. And I think you need like one system, one backend for everything. That's what BizBot is trying to do now.
Yeah, and it's a great idea. Obviously, there are many new innovations, but this one sort of encompasses a lot of those little bits that perhaps are overlooked for those new entrepreneurs. So the question also is, you when you fell off the horse, you got back on and you created BizBot. How are you doing now? How are you enjoying your current successes, sir?
I still think there's a reason why I'm very often, when I'm asked to talk, it's still about failures. About I had to talk about valley of death. When you start and you just spend money, and then you hopefully will get back on and go cash positive. I've had a long speech on something called Fuck Up Nights, an international organization where founders talk about failures. I really love the idea. So I talked about my last business and how it went, how it closed it down, the whole history. And believe me, there's a lot more to that story. I felt like a stand-up comedian, actually, because there was, and it's on YouTube, a long story. So I think that what was driving me was that I had a new idea, which I liked even better than the last one. I realized that this is something I'm good at. And I've gotten a lot of, and I also told myself that I'm going to give it a few months. If there is no traction, I will find something else to do. But I got a lot of traction. We managed to raise funds. People believed in the idea. So I guess that was a lot of the reason for starting over again.
Well, thank you very much, Didrik. It's a wonderful story, and I can see Eduardo is back on the screen. So either he's got a question or we have to move on. Either way, can I thank you for your answers, and I'll pass back to Eduardo.
Yeah, I'm going to be part of BizBot, actually, and people told me for years that I needed to meet Didrik, and once I met him, it was like, oh my God, where have you been, brother? And people don't understand, BizBot can become one of the biggest companies actually in this region. Of all the people that have presented me their kind of innovations and companies, I can say BizBot will become huge. Trust me. And the reason for that is that I worked for the Norwegian CSD, for 5 years. Yeah. And the thing is about monopoly, it actually halts innovation, my friend. So now that the regulations are falling, Bspot has been there all the time and it's more ready than ever. This is going to explode, I can tell you. And Bspot is going to become big. And I'm proud to be part of that journey with you, Bspot, Diedrich. It's going to be an amazing journey, I can tell you.
Thanks, Eduardo.
Well,
Thanks.
thank you, Diedrich, and thank you, Eduardo. Thank you. So, moving on to our next speaker, Eduardo, who have we got up next?
We should have Mariano here, but I think he had some. Mariano is not here. Something happened. So, what we have is that I had to pre-record Joe Foster. He's always traveling.
Okay.
So maybe I can just do the show now from both him and Jordan Mendoza.
Shall I give him an intro from the UK?
Yeah, you can, because he's one of our founding members, and he's the reason that we're here today, actually, because when Steven approached me 3 years ago to invest in something called One Golden Nugget, and I was actually the third investor in that project, and he said one phrase only, and I was like, this is going to be magic. And it became One Golden Nugget is going to make the matrix vibrate, I can tell you. Tell us a little about One Golden Nugget, Maxwell, for the people that don't know.
Well, One Golden Nugget, sharing wisdom. It's very simple. You give us your bits of wisdom and we make sure everyone finds out. But also, of course, it is with great people like Eduardo and those attending today. So one of those people that came into my universe and then One Golden Nugget very early on, we were very fortunate, was a wonderful man. A man who flies the flag behind me, which has fallen down, I think. You can just about see it. The flag for England. He flies the flag for shoes. He flies the flag, right, for One Golden Nugget, and now he's flying the flag here as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will hand you back to Eduardo in just a moment for this gentleman, the founder of an iconic brand, Reebok. I'm sure you've owned a pair, and if you haven't, you really should have. And I'll tell you what, he's back in the frame today, so you never know. Have a look and check the video out. Over to you, Eduardo.
Give us just some of the names that we have in One Golden Nugget. Like, give us some more names so people understand what this is.
On the videos?
No, on One Golden Nugget. What some of our members.
Some of our members. Okay, so we have a former English Dragon, Rachel Eleanor. We have Mark Mills. We have obviously our CEO Stephen Foster. We have, let me think about who else will be in there. We have Dana Steele. So she's a Hall of Fame American DJ, and she backs musicals in the US and the UK. It goes on, but it's
the first female astronaut. We have the
astronaut. Well, the thing was, you said to me,
Okay,
you said to me. So basically, that was an amazing show interviewing Katie Coleman. Katie Coleman was on the International Space Station for 6 months, and her One Golden Nugget show. We've got many other great ones as well. Thank you, Eduardo, for letting me plug that.
Go to OneGoldenNugget.com.
Nugget
please go there and see, and you will understand. And actually, we're looking for more members, and we're actually together. One Entrepreneur Capital and One Golden Nuggets is going to release the Founder Series, that we invite founders from all the world to participate and write down their legacy in a book together with Joe Foster, Frank Carvajal. All these amazing people will be in the book, actually.
Absolutely. Just to say, Katie Coleman, when she joined us, I can't say too much, but we thought we'd be with her for, 40 minutes. But Katie stayed with us a long time and spoke to every single founder member who stuck around, answered every question. What a wonderful lady and an amazing story. And if you get a chance to check that out, OneGoldenNugget.com, and go find in the menu Nugget Live and go and watch the Katie Coleman show, the full episode, not the little edits, the full episode. I think you will... it's not everything there because we went to private chat rooms where she stuck with us, but watch the full show. It's really good. And Eduardo, thank you so much for that plug. I wasn't expecting that.
Man, I will need to do the sales from now on.
That's very kind. So let's move on. Who's next? It's Joe, and it's the video. Sorry, over to Joe Foster, the founder of Reebok, and a video that Joe's pre-recorded with Eduardo. Here we go.
Welcome to AngelBay episode 1, where we talk about entrepreneurship. And our question to you, sir, is what defines an entrepreneur?
Well, thank you, Eduardo. Thank you for inviting me. What defines an entrepreneur? There are many things, but I think the important thing is an entrepreneur has to be willing and ready to take risks. I think that is so important. But, beyond that, the imagination has to be there, always. He has to have good imagination, and he has to be able to sell his imagination to everybody else. People have to believe in him. That person has to believe in himself and be able to make other people believe in him as well. That's so important, because no matter what ideas you have, unless you can sell them, it doesn't work. But you have to believe, and you have to pass that belief on. So having the vision and having the willingness to take the risk. This is not gambling. This is doing something that other people may question because they don't see it, but you see it. An entrepreneur sees it, and an entrepreneur goes for it. So it's taking that risk and being willing to take people with you.
What is your advice to an entrepreneur that sees it, but everybody around them is downplaying the view, you could say, or the vision, right? And like everybody, like the parents, their friends, how do they keep that alive? Because I've been there many times, where I see, like you said, I see it, but nobody else sees that, and they're like doing the opposite. They're like, Eduardo, do something else or something like that, right? How do
that will always happen, because that's the definition between you and other people. Other people will always see the downside. They will always see that, and you have to, in a way, you have to say, that's fine, that's not a problem. It's good to hear what you have to say, but you don't have to let that affect your vision and what you want to do. If they all have that vision, it wouldn't be original. What you're doing, an entrepreneur has that originality. It might only be a small thing, but it is that small difference in many opportunities. That small difference that does make the difference. And I always advise anybody who wants to become an entrepreneur, has an idea, do not listen to too many people. If you've got an idea, give it a try. And if you fail, that is a lesson. But it's a lesson that entrepreneurs need. So don't worry about that. If it doesn't work, tweak it. But it really is the fact that people around you, if they can't see it, that's not a problem. They will do when it works.
Well, hello, Bodo. You're muted, sir.
Oh, sorry. I said that I had goosebumps after talking with Joe when he gave me that answer. I had goosebumps. Always when I talk to Joe, it's the same. It's this amazing wisdom. And Entrepreneur Capital has a lot of books to give away. We're going to sponsor an event where people can get their hands on the book, just so you know. So just keep following Entrepreneur Capital on LinkedIn. An amazing book.
It is indeed, and there it is, and that's something that comes. That's something that comes inside it. And I had a lovely dinner at my house with Joe last summer, and it was a lot of fun. And what a guy he is. Founder of Reebok, indeed. So, Eduardo, I know that Joe's actually doing quite a lot with some of our friends over in Texas and Mexico and all sorts, and he's been doing his bits and pieces in America. So hopefully we can follow that as well, because obviously as a founder member of One Golden Nugget, I'm quite happy to promote Mr. Joe Foster.
Me too, man. Like that's how this magic started, actually. For me to do Entrepreneur Capital was that, when Steven came to me, he started the magic. And I always tell Steve, man, you started the magic, my friend, because you showed the way that collaborating without seeing each other as competitors, and that's the problem most entrepreneurs do. They don't get this, there's no competitors. There's only collaborators, actually. So that's so important, and that the magic that you and Steve did, and it echoes everywhere now. It echoes for us. It echoes everywhere. So My best investment I've done in my life, one golden nugget, I can tell you.
Well, thank you so much again. This is it sounds like a whole advert for us. It's very kind. Sharing wisdom is free. Being a good friend is free. Being a great businessman and sharing your wisdom is also available if you join all the guys one way or another. So Eduardo, who's up next? Okay, so now I think I've spoken to this fella too before. We have Jordan Mendoza, and he is a service provider, and he monetizes social media. He's an author, a podcast host, a coach, a speaker, and featured in Yahoo Finance. I could list the rest, but now he's taken the question away again from me, Jordan. So unfortunately it was there 1 second and it's gone. But can I just have the question back up, Eduardo? I do apologize. The other screen has gone blank on me over here, so I just need that one, please.
Okay, 1 second.
I do apologize. He's very keen to get you in, Jordan. Hold on. Thank you very much, Eduardo. So the question is, as you can now see on screen, what was the most difficult time in your life, and how did you handle it, and what did you learn? So, Jordan, this is for you. Let's have your answer, please.
Our next speaker here at AngelBay, episode 1, a friend, I would say, an inspiration on LinkedIn, Jordan Mendoza, Blaze Your Own Trail Consulting. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing excellent and better now that I get to hang with you for a little bit. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Jordan. It's like 2 years back and forward, and we are finally doing it here right now. So you have a quite, I would say, hard question. I would say it's... and the reason I give you that question and challenge is that you have such an inspirational story that touched my heart a lot, and I know touched a lot of hearts on LinkedIn. And I think that is what we need. We need more people talking about being a human life. Like the life of an entrepreneur is not like drinking, I don't know, gin and tonics and driving fast. Like there's a lot of things you don't see. Suffering, trying, falling down, getting up again. So, Jordan, tell us the most difficult moment in your life. How did you come over it, and what did you learn?
Yeah, well, listen, I appreciate you giving me the ability to give you this access because, like you said, not enough people are talking about and being as vulnerable as they could be in telling, stories. And so, my dark and my hardest moment in my life, it started in 2011. And, I got a call from my mom who was living in Portland, Oregon. I was in Atlanta, and she called me and she said, hey, I fell down. The ambulance had to come and get me, and they're taking me to the hospital. But don't worry, I'll call you after they run some tests. Everything will be okay. And that's the last time that I actually heard her voice. And just to give you context on my mom, she was actually born in the 50s with one lung. And back in the 50s, when you were born with one lung, the doctors essentially said, well, she probably won't live to 18. She definitely won't be able to have any kids. And that was really the cards that she was dealt. But my mom was a fighter, brother. She was kind. She was inspirational. She was a hard worker, even though she really couldn't have traditional jobs because she was on oxygen most of her life. She still found ways to do side hustles. She would go play bingo. She would go to the dog races. She would figure out ways to provide for our family. And even though we were on government cheese, food stamps, lived in real poverty, we felt rich with love, and she showed me how to be kind and how to be empathetic. She had a great sense of humor, and she was big into sports. So she got us kids involved through scholarships and things like that. And she really showed me how to be a positive person in life and not being a victim, but a victor of your circumstances. And so when I got that call, and then fast forward 3 months later, she was in the hospital. What had happened is that 54 years, 53 to this point, that she had been living with this one lung, all of a sudden she got sick. She got pneumonia, and then her kidneys started to fail when she was in the hospital, and then her heart started to fail. And it was just this trifecta of bad things happening. And she went to the hospital in November, and by March of 2012, she unfortunately passed away. But when I think about her life, you know, the legacy that she left was all the goodness that she instilled in me. Because, you know, even, you know, knowing these things about my mom and knowing how I grew up, I also had adversities that I went through, whether that's being stung by 53 bees in 4th grade, or being beaten and falsely arrested by police at 12, or being in an accident and nearly dying at 19. But for some reason, I couldn't see the value in my own story until I actually lost my mom. And so that 6 months, brother, that was the darkest, the deepest time of my life. I remember I was managing 558 units in Atlanta, a massive community. I had 24 people on my team. And I kid you not, I remember getting in the car and driving. I don't remember the drive to work. I remember being at my office, but I don't remember the day. I remember getting back in the car and driving home, but I don't remember that drive home. And that went on for 6 months. It was dark. And, you know, I battled a lot of things, and, you know, all of these, like, what am I going to do with my life now? I mean, this is a woman, I was a mama's boy, brother. Like, this is my best friend. I would talk to her twice a day, and then it's radio silence. And all I wanted to do was pick up that phone one last time. All I wanted to do was have her tell me that I'm going to be okay. Have her tell me that she was proud. And so, man, that was tough to deal with. And it took a lot of people like my wife standing beside me, my faith, my kids, you know, people being there for me and stepping in and saying, hey, your life's not over, brother. You've got more to do. And that was very encouraging to have people in my corner that were saying, hey, you can still do things. And that really encouraged me to get out of that funk. And truth be told, I got a demotion. My company demoted me because I wasn't performing. And I think this is a powerful message for people to hear, because they didn't once ask me how I felt. They didn't once ask me what I was dealing with. And if they would have actually taken and intervened on that, I maybe would have had that role. But I'll tell you, brother, that was the biggest blessing for me, was getting a demotion. Okay, because I got out of the pity party and I said, okay, this happened for a reason. And I did so well at that next place, and it led me to the next opportunity and getting a role in training that I spent 8 years in. I taught a 6-month leadership program, and that success showed me that I wanted to start a podcast and inspire people around the world. And it showed me that I could blaze my own trail and launch my consulting agency, which I did in January of last year. So, you know, adversities, I'm a big believer that adversities give us strength. And they also enable us to see through a lens that most people will never get a chance to see through.
Well, there you go. That was pre-recorded, of course, with Jordan. And what a great segment that was. And again, it shows the humility of great leaders, with telling it how it is, the real story behind a person who makes a great company. So, Eduardo, who's next?
Yeah, yes, give me 1 second to get myself, because that story touched me every time. Right?
Oh, absolutely. Just a quick one. Whilst you're looking for the next story, my friend, I can see that touched you. On the chat, please put your details in, and if you're an author, put your book in, and all those things, because I do believe that obviously here with AngelBay episode 1, we've got the start of something lovely as well. So just put those in while Eduardo is finding me the next question. He's going to leave it up this time till I've asked the question, right?
Yeah, what I will do now is that I will invite everybody back on the stage.
Oh,
okay.
And
I will also invite some new people on the stage that actually are people that I think deserves a spot here today, because they're doing amazing things. Like the community, why do I
closer to the microphone, my friend?
Okay. Yeah, no applause now. The community of, you could say, entrepreneurship, or like how it works is based out of the effort of people that believe, in something bigger than their ego, I would say, and that is the fun, I would say, in Explorico, for example, David Holm, Stefan, if you're here listening, with AEM, IEM 2 days that we were invited to. For me, materializes that. When everybody understand that, it will be beneficial if we all come together, even if maybe we're doing similar products, to do an event to get like venture capital or whatever we need, or an angel. So that's the reason that I would like to lift up some people that I strongly believe in. So I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully we could have them, everybody. I will add everybody to the stream now, and hopefully this we're missing Carolina is not there, and we're missing Nadalina is here. And what we're going to do is that they're going to pitch themselves for 1 minute or two, or not pitch. They don't pitch. They will tell us like, why do they do what they do? What is the passion? And then the other people here, like the expert or whatever, could ask question, or they could ask an expert a question, actually. So what I want to do here is that this is for me what represent what entrepreneurship should be all about. Is everybody on the show now? Or we missing? No, Enrique here. Wow. Cool.
Okay.
So let me just share the slide that I want to share. 1 second. How do I do that? Somebody's having some noise that is really annoying. Please, everybody, mute your microphones.
So, Eduardo, as we get in here, first of all, I must apologise to Frank earlier on for the surname. My apologies when I didn't get that right the second time around.
No, that's okay.
Okay, thank you very much. So we've got a few people. I'm trying to look at the screen here as well. We've got all these wonderful people here, and Eduardo's about to tell me what we're going to do. But we have a few people who haven't spoken, and it would be really nice to bring in, for example, looking at your screens right now, I've seen that Tristan Elizabeth Gribbin is with us. And I think, Eduardo, if that's okay with you, can we go with her first? And I give her a nice round of applause. So if you'd like to unmute your microphone, Tristan, or request from Eduardo, that'd be great.
Everybody mute, please.
Okay. Thank you very much. We're going to go with Tristan first. Over to you, accelerating entrepreneurs and investors. Tell us a little bit about yourself and, pick yourself up a bit. Have some fun.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much. It's been delightful to listen and to watch this show so far. And I'm delighted to be here with all of you. And I'm an entrepreneur who started a meditation technology platform. And we are the first technology platform for meditation that's in web, mobile, and virtual reality. We provide immersive tools for the workplace, immersive tools for on the go, so people can learn. And our belief and our what we've proven to be true is that pilots, engineers, and surgeons can train to perform better outcomes through virtual reality. We can train busy working people, modern people like you and me, how to learn and master meditation through immersive technology. We've been doing that. We have award-winning filmmakers on our team. We involve 360-degree pure nature with ambisonic nature sounds, music, and guidance with a wide variety of tools. So the thing is that we're always changing, right? Whenever you go to meditate, there's a different mood, there's a different desire, feeling. What is it you're looking for? How you're feeling? What you need to let go of? If it's worry or if it's stress of the day or tension in the body or the mind, it's really important to have different tools and techniques at your fingertips. So we provided a wide range of tools, from breath to focus and being able to move in meditation and let go and actively release stress from the mind and body. So in any given day, you can go in and perform a unique session under 10 minutes. There's 300 different choices you could design for yourself. So it's really amazing. And I'm really proud to be here through Eduardo. He's very connected to our work, and I'm also an aspiring golden nugget one day book writer.
It's coming. Don't you worry. We can sort that out. Tristan, thank you very much.
Could I just share something that I tried the meditation first in the beginning, but I didn't get it to work with the app. Then Tristan, we had a meeting and she invited me to this, and I did a meditation on the sea actually, and I cried actually a lot. I started to cry because what happened on the beach was that I met my mother, and she sat me on her lap. and it was such a nice relief after. I was totally moved. So I'm telling you, flow is going to heal a lot of people. It's not only about meditation; it will be about healing also.
Oh, that's fantastic, and I will say I've done a beach meditation once, and it's amazing. And Tristan, just so you know, I hope you noticed at the beginning of the show, right? Show number 2, I think it was, if I'm correct, Eduardo, is going to be with all the ladies. So I hope you're going to be there on that one. Okay, so yeah, you be there, and make sure you get some others in, other great girls and ladies and women that we know, and let's make that show fantastic.
Yeah, that's what we need to go over to Carolina Salazar, because she has the flag to make it happen. Carolina Salazar, an amazing friend and like a huge inspiration for entrepreneurship, I would say, the queen of design thinking. Welcome to the show, Carolina.
Yeah, absolutely. So next, I think we should stay, given that we're going to go with show 2 on the ladies, and we've had mostly fellas on so far. I think we should have Caro. Now, I hope I get your name right. Is it Caro and Salazar? Is that right? Is it Caro?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Caro,
Yes.
welcome to episode 1 of AngelBay. I'm sure you already know Eduardo, right? You must know Eduardo.
Yes,
Yeah.
everybody knows Eduardo.
Please tell everybody who you are, a little bit about you for those who've not met you before, and we will go, of course, in just a moment to those who haven't spoken already. So, Caro, over to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Dan. I am a long-term way working around the world with different methodologies, use design thinking, and now we are focused in metaverses. We built 2 metaverses. Then somebody tell me that I'm the first EVA metaverse. Then welcome everybody to our worlds, and it's immersive worlds, and we believe that is the next part of the huge opportunity to be connected and communicate in different way. We create a big world. The first world have hospitals, hotels, discotheques, and where we can dance, islands. You can walk around the nice areas, green areas. You can go directly into the, for example, molecular. You can smell apples. Then we have different kind of experiences into the metaverse. We are focusing the beautyverse. We are focusing the health. We are also focused in help all of the tourists. And I think that when you are looking around about innovation and strategy, you need to be open for understand that we need to go forward. We need to talk about the future and the present. Then our business is try to promote the future in the present and try to put forward to the people with imagination, and we try to build the people's dream, and they can be there and live his life. And we are focused with blockchain and NFTs, and we are working a lot with different kind of experiences into the reality or in the second world named metaverse.
Well, Caro, thank you very much for that. That's a very businessy thing. I tell you what, I think it'd be really fun for us to know a little bit about you. Tell me about yourself. Give me a little bit about your heart.
About me, yeah, okay. I live in Sweden, in the north of Sweden. I love a lot the toys for boys. I drive motorcycles. I drive faster cars. I love to drive in the ice. For example, I'm really good for driving scooters, and yeah, I'm really crazy.
well,
yes, I see your face now.
You see, everyone's smiling now. We know a little bit about you, and you're crazy, and you're driving ice. Now, before we move too far forward, Eduardo, there's been a gentleman who's been here right from the beginning, Nalinava Sengupta, I believe. I hope I got that right, sir. We're going to get your mic unmuted. Please start nice and clearly with your company, who you are, and tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is you want to speak about.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks to Eduardo for the opportunity to mingle and know about so many inspiring stories, but from my side, it is when my one of the closest cousin sister was suffering from cancer during my PhD days. And being chemist, I was always wondering, why don't I do something relevant and direct to make the chemotherapy less painful and shorter? And I, I keep my scientific eyes open, and I am fortunate that I'm married to a molecular biologist, and together with her and her lady supervisor, we three co-founded iNanode, and a startup from Oslo Cancer Cluster. And basically what we are doing, we are combining chemotherapy, immunotherapy through nanotechnology so that the drug delivery is faster, and also immunotherapy takes place at the site so that the double action kills the cancer tumor so fast that the two chemotherapy duration gap is shorter, and the side effects are much less, and therefore you abolish the trauma and bring smiles to the patient during cancer therapy cure. And I do see it that the formulation goes through the vein and actually hitting the target. But we are kind of challenged because it's very unusual that you start a company for biotechnology from the idea. It is usually the push mechanism which drives it. And that's why we have some challenges. But I'm sure if a friend like Eduardo joins hands, we are overcome that barrier, and this pull mechanism of innovation will genuinely take place to the purpose.
Well,
And
go on. You had more to say.
yeah, I am available in LinkedIn always, and inanode.com. It's very simple, intercalatingnanodrugs.com. And
Navalin,
reach me
can
out.
I say
Let me know.
something?
Yeah. Yes, please.
It's so fun for me to watch cultures, because you're so humble, my friend, but you're doing something so important. You're like, it was such a pleasure to meet you and your beautiful wife, and that you invited me to be part of the journey. It's a blessing, my friend. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
So I'm
I
happy
think,
that I'm joining, and like, you have such a gift to the world, my friend. Even if you reach, let's say, even half of what you want to achieve, you will save millions and millions of lives, my friend. You're a miracle. You're a gift, a miracle to this world. You and your wife, my friend.
I think we
thank
can
you,
all.
Eduardo.
I think we can all agree on that, Nalinava. So. I tend to check out every night, and it sounds a bit odd. I tend to check out ScienceDaily.com, and I read, and this is going to be a bit bizarre, and I do apologize for this, but I read the titles and the strap lines of every single post on ScienceDaily.com, and I read into the ones I like. That's just part of who I am. It's what I sort of go to bed instead of reading a book. That's what I do, and I'm sure I've seen work of yours or very similar, and I wish you the very best, and you've got a great set of people here, and please also, before we finish the show, could you also put your details, actually type them down? I'm sure Eduardo will, but let us know.
I'm preparing a slide with everybody that have the extra guests, so you can contact them, and I will add everybody here, and we will post everywhere like the contact details. But these are the companies you should research. These are the companies you should invest in. Like, this is a fact. Investment in Europe or Scandinavia compared to US is like, it's non-existing, my friends. Like, and that is the problem that I have a hard time with, because when I went for VC the first time in 2004, they annoyed me after 2 meetings, and I'm this guy, like, I get annoyed, and I'm hard-headed. I will not go back. Then I learned to sell, my friends. I built a company 35 without VC, and that is what I do. I can build any company with very little resources, I can tell you. The only thing you need is belief, hard work. But if you got the right VC, my friend, you can take over the world. Maybe I would have
Well,
been Elon Musk by now if I had taken the money. I don't know. But what I can tell you for a fact is that there are VCs in United States that are funded and run by entrepreneurs, my friend. And those are the allies of entrepreneur capital. So we really hope that we can get our partners to see the amazing companies that are not getting funded here in Scandinavia that are just waiting to go there. So I leave over to my friend Mariano. I'm a limited partner in the venture capitalist company. An honor having you, Mariano, an entrepreneur that became venture capitalist. Tell us the story, man.
Hello,
I
everybody.
finally get to meet you. I finally get to meet you. Yay!
Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the invite, and thank you for the intro, Eduardo. And I'm based out of San Antonio, Texas, originally from Mexico. For those of you who are a little bit older like me, you might remember how the world was going to end in 2000, and with Y2K and everything. So I'm a computer systems engineer. And I guess I leveraged that situation. At that time, there was an enormous demand for IT professionals. So I moved to the US and to work at a startup, and eventually did my master's in business administration, and essentially decided to stay. I've always worked in the intersection of strategy and technology, as a strategy consultant, also as a founder, with varying degrees of success, from having to shut down a company to also one that was very successful. So with that, I always knew that later in life I would be a venture capitalist, because what I wanted to do is to I guess in a way to help to provide the support and the mentorship and the help that I didn't have back in the day, right? And particularly with me being an underrepresented founder or investor, it was very difficult at the time. So fast forward to today, there has been an enormous movement in terms of democratization of access to capital. Also, a lot of advances in technology that allow you to build startups at a significantly less expensive way. So all of that creates a perfect storm to invest in companies, in talent that maybe the traditional VC sphere is not that open to. And my position has always been, you know what? If they want to continue investing only in white males coming out of Stanford, by all means, let them continue to do so, right? We'll be happy to pick up the money that they leave on the table, and in doing so, will create generational wealth for underrepresented founders and also for underrepresented LPs, or LPs who had traditionally not have had access to venture capital, because historically it has been a very closed system, so to speak. So that's a little bit about I guess my journey to building MGB Capital, and our fund invests primarily in companies that are creating value in the US or Mexico. That doesn't mean that we cannot go overseas. We have invested in England, in Canada, in Argentina, in Colombia, but always under the premise that the strategy for the companies is to grow into the US or Mexico. And particularly, we look at fintech, consumer internet, and enterprise software, which is the areas in which I've had the fortune of working for about 2 decades across the world. So that's a little bit about us, and thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you very much, Mariano. So, Eduardo, I can only see 9 people on my screen. Is that what we've got at the moment?
You're on multiple channels, my friend. We're on YouTube.
Everywhere. The ones I can see, I just want to make sure I don't leave anybody out that I can see.
Yeah.
So to everybody, So to everybody that's there, we got to say sort of thank you very much for all of the words that are said before we open up so you can all chat. I believe that's where
we're
going.
not finished yet. Please, can I take over the microphone?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Okay, I need to just do a very few slides, and I will only do 2 slides. I talked enough. People know me already. They know what I stand for, so I don't need to say more. Mariano, you and me, we have some amazing things going on. I can't say much. I can only say "Órale, capitán, hermano." That's all I can say for now. But what we will do now is that you will go into a talk with Didrik. That is kind of our fintech star here in Norway, you can say. And what we want to achieve is that we are like having like you said, underfunded minorities. We have underfunded stars in Scandinavia, my friend. So that is what we're going to do now. So if you maybe do you want to do the slide? Do the slides when you're here, or do you want to go with Didrik and have a talk? Maybe now.
I mean, up to you guys. This is the first time for me, so whatever works.
Okay,
best
let me
for
do
you.
the slides, and then you two. But what you and Didrik can do for now is that you can connect on LinkedIn, so you can send Zoom to each other. You know.
Perfect.
Let me do like this. I open a LinkedIn now. On LinkedIn, I open a group chat for you and Didrik. Mariano.
Perfect.
¿Cómo estuvo el día, hermano? ¿Todo bien?
Bien, bien. I want to show you something because I went to see my doctor like on Monday, and he told me that I needed to start drinking more water. So I told my wife, and this is what she got me today. I'll show you. I think this is way more than I need to drink, but it also has like the times of the day and everything. I don't know. Anyways.
Oh, we need to see that. We need to see that. Hold it up so we can see all the words, so we can get an idea. A bit further back, closer to you. That one. Take a shot, Eduardo. We need to see that.
I can. Let me take a group picture now.
I'll report later if I made it all the way through. It seems to me like a lot, but anyway. But other than that, everything is going well, and super busy, and again, a pleasure to join you, and looking forward to meeting all of you later on.
Jordan is here. Jordan, you want to say, man, you touch like Jordan, my friend, hermano, you hear me?
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Man, listen, me and Jordan, we have been like pitching at each other for 2 years, like back and forward, liking our posts and encouraging. And we finally met like 1 month ago, and we cried together. I can tell you, we cried together.
Yeah, man, it was powerful. You know, I think when we can show up as who we are and be a little vulnerable with each other as humans, and create that emotional relevance, I think that's so important. And honestly, it makes business so much easier, right? When we take the dang mask off, when we could take those gloves off, and we could just be human beings with each other. Because at the end of the day, when we put our head down on our pillow, every pillow is soft, hopefully, right? Everybody, has those thoughts of like, hey, what did I do in the day? And we all can relate to that. We can all relate to being emotional. We can all relate to loss. We can all relate to that. So, it's so powerful when we can connect on a deeper and a personal level. And I hate that I'm only here for literally 2 minutes. I have another client call, but I wanted to applaud you, Eduardo, putting together an amazing group of people like this. I was able to kind of see some of your guys' talks. You guys are all amazing. I can't wait to connect with you guys. Of course, I know Enrique, we were on another call earlier today, but I just wanted to honor you, brother. Just tell you how grateful I am for your friendship. Maxwell, as a host, brother, as an MC, you rocked it.
Thank you.
You got a cool accent too to boot. So that's another little bonus. But I can't wait to connect with you guys. I've got to jump, but so amazing to hear your guys' stories, hear a little bit more about you, and I can't wait to further connect and build our relationships, guys. So
well, Jordan,
I appreciate you thinking about me.
Jordan, if you need a voiceover for your American company or your Canadian company, wherever you are, let me know.
Absolutely, and I'll be reaching
Jordan
out, brother.
Mendoza. I
can throw the ball back at One Golden Nugget and say, here you have founding members, my friend, all of them. That's the thing. Okay. And another thing is that you have top experts on LinkedIn here today, my friends. If you want advice in your company about leadership, Enrique Acosta Gonzalez, He's the man. If you want to know how to really implement innovation, Chris Bestwick, my friends. If you really want to know how to go beyond like a brand, how you establish the most powerful brand on LinkedIn or whatever, Jordan Mendoza. This is what Entrepreneur Capital is about. We're not only angels, my friend, we're experts in all areas you can imagine. And we consider ourselves family, right? I could call anybody here. They
100%.
could call me 3 a.m, like you're not like Eduardo. They throw me out. I would, if I had, I would send you a jet, my friend. You know, that
Hey,
is
I've
what
got
we
5
stand
kids
for.
and a wife, so hey, that might happen, brother. I might be knocking on your doorstep. If I'm a knucklehead too much one day, they may be booting me into the backyard or something. So, no, hey, I appreciate you guys. I've got to jump. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this, and I know we're all going to chat here soon.
Yeah, I will just do the very few 2 slides only about Entrepreneur Capital, what it is, because there's a lot of misconfusion. I need to do it because else other people will piss at me also that the ones paying for the whole show is not even presenting, right? So I'm just going to do it very quickly, super quickly. So Entrepreneur Capital, what it is that it's being transformed to a foundation. So it's not Eduardo's pocket. It's nobody's pocket. It's a foundation that will be protected by some selected families, some of them present here, that we want to create this haven of empowerment. And our whole idea is to create new entrepreneur capitalists, you could say. We want to create a wheel where we invest in people and they do their exit, and then they join us and become entrepreneur capitalists. And how we do it is that we invest in each other. Very simple. So we have our, I need to be here to be able to share the slide. So what it is that Familia X is actually my family, joined of we have many like Silvas, Retamal. So we're putting in the money now, you could say, for the first year to make this happen. And we have aligned with 2 experts to make it happen. Actually, Espen Finsrud, that is our economical advisor, and Ken Roger Brattela is the juridical advisor. So we don't get into some issues, right? Because I hate paperwork. If I were a lawyer, I would be sued myself. I hate paperwork. I hate management. I'm a good leader, but nothing else, you know. And then we have our, like you could say, founding members, partners, sisters, brother. It's people that we really trust and like, and we really want to help each other out. You know, that's what the first thing we do. So what we're doing is primary is investing in our own kind of, you could say, innovation. It's like your Foster's Metaverse together with Carolina. Everybody goes together to create something, right? It's the Founder Series. It's the Founders University that will open in August for the first pilot, where everybody that has been presenting here will actually be invited for the first year for free, actually. And there's many things that we're doing that you're not seeing, but you will see them once they start to go, because we're doers, my friends. So so this is the next. The third show will be to understand what is the difference between angel, shark versus VC. So I would like just to play this one, because there's so many. I would say 90% of entrepreneurs here in Scandinavia don't understand the difference between VC and angel. So I want to play this clip here. Do you have sound?
Yes.
Yeah, seems strange, but you gotta quitters never win. Yeah,
We needed tooling the case.
you believe in yourself again. Yeah, ready for
We needed some money for tooling the case and things like that. We needed a few $100,000, and this was way beyond our means. So I went looking for some venture capital, and I ran across one venture capitalist named Don Valentine, who came over to the garage, and he later said I looked like a renegade from the human race. That was his famous quote. And he said he wasn't willing to invest in us, but he recommended a few people that might, and one of them was Mike Markkula. So I called Mike on the phone, and Mike came over, and Mike had retired at about 30 or 31 from Intel. He was a product manager there and gotten a little bit of stock, and made like $1 million on stock options, which at that time was quite a lot of money. And he'd been investing in oil and gas deals and kind of staying home and doing that sort of thing. And he, I think, was kind of antsy to get back into something. And Mike and I hit it off very well. And so Mike said, okay, I'll invest after a few weeks. And I said, no, we don't want your money. We want you. So we convinced Mike to actually throw in with us as an equal partner. And so Mike put in some money, and Mike put in himself, and the three of us went off and we took this design that was virtually done with the Apple II and tooled it up and announced it a few months later at the West Coast Computer Fair.
What was that like?
It was great.
Yeah. New York City. Make a change.
So, to all entrepreneurs listening, don't offend an angel by giving the same evaluation a VC, because you will lose them. Like, people know, in US, they know this. Here in Scandinavia, I don't know who is teaching you, but this is like ABC in business, right? An angel put their money from their own pocket, my friends, and they are worth. I'm not saying they're worth more than the VC. It's not that, but they will bleed for you. They are like the entrepreneur that you're missing. So don't do that mistake, because you will lose money and opportunities, my friends. And a shark is a person that gives you the hand, and they smile, and they have all these fancy titles, and they know all these fancy people. And once they remove the hand, you're missing 4 fingers, but you don't notice because you're just looking at the smile. But he's a shark, so he will come back to you and say, oh, I didn't take the thumb, but now he's a shark. He takes your whole arm. Now it's too late for you, my friend. You're dying. So we don't like sharks, entrepreneur capital. That's the reason we started AngelBay. We don't want any sharks around to bite any of us on our people, I can tell you. And the VC, I would say, like, I was very hostile against VC in my early career, because they were funded by investment bankers and state management trying to tell me how to run a company when they have not done nothing in their life like I have done, gone without salary for 6 months to pay my employees. Yeah. But luckily, now the wind are changing, and we have actually Mariano, we have actually Adrian Mendoza's, and we have venture capitalists founded, owned by entrepreneurs, actually. And that, for me, I take my hat off. And the reason that I'm doing my LP investments in these companies, and I will never own in a VC company founded by investment bankers, I can tell you. Now I'm being judgmental again, but I will not. That is the fact.
Eduardo, let's have your asset. We've got your lovely face back. We can see you again. So are we going to go to chatting and speaking?
Yeah, I don't know how to do it, because I killed the Zoom and I refuse to open it again. I will never use it.
Well,
I use my authority now to say we will never use. This is yeah, we are a democracy, but we will never use Zoom again. At least if I'm hosting the show. If you're hosting it without me, you can use Zoom.
No, don't worry. I'll tell you what we should do then, in which case, there's a lot of people who've stuck around here. Enrique and Chris, at the beginning of the show, both followed the thing about some humility and then culture. There was an element of that in there. I don't know how you feel, Eduardo, but if we open up all the mics and we perhaps let Enrique, who's been so polite for so long, and then Chris have some comments on the show. And if everyone is prepared to unmute and let those people speak, and we'll try and keep it that way, and I'll stick out of it unless I think I need to come in. I'd like to say thank you so much for being invited yet again to host for Eduardo here, of course, for entrepreneurcapital.com, and on this case, episode 1 of AngelBay, and I will be seeing you again. I'm going to stick around, but I think we should open all the mics if we can do that. Can they do that, Eduardo?
Yeah, they can just unmute themselves.
There we go. And I think because he's waited so long and he's smiled throughout the show and he's thought so many things, we should start with Enrique and then go to Chris, and then obviously allow all of you to open. And Mariano, we haven't got your mic unmuted for some reason. There we go. So, Enrique, I'm going to disappear and say thank you to everybody for the moment, a little bit. I'll be here, but not here. Perhaps you'd like to start off with some of your comments on the show, or perhaps going back over points that have been made by some of the people speaking. Over to you, sir.
Well, thank you, Maxwell, and thank you, everybody. I'd love to stick around and just listen because I am a worldwide leadership perspective type of guy. You learn so much, Nali Nava and his product it just blows my mind. It blows my mind. Chris, we still have to catch up here, brother, but, that whole environment of work, people, the surrounding around people, and that's really why I'm in the business I am in. It is the people, not the leaders. I'm not after the leaders. I train the leaders, but it's because there's people that are going to be impacted by the quality of the leader that I get to interact with. It is the people why I'm in business, and so when I talk to them, I tell them, hey, it's really not about you, and some get offended. That's okay. They'll realize it one day or another, but it's really not about the person in a position or the person at the helm. Yes, you have the ultimate authority to say, hey, we're going this way, we're going that way, and that's fine. But guess what? You can't go anywhere without the people. So unless you're willing to paddle by yourself, or do like Fred Flintstone's here in the and let your feet do all the pedaling, you have to make sure that you invest in the people. And Diedrich, your story of overcoming, and we all have a similar story somehow, some way, right? But to see you to continue, and the way I see you, brother, is a bizbot in the future, and you're doing great things. And it's going to be through folks like Mariano and all the other investors that we have in the group, to get you there. And I'm just so happy that you stuck around, that you didn't just say, I'm done. And
Thanks.
Tristan, Flo, my goodness, have we ever needed Flo more than ever after the last 2.5 years we've had? I would like to go to a beach every single day. I actually live in Florida, so I don't have to go too far. But, such a needed um, tool to get us right mentally. And if your mind's not right and your emotions are not right, you can forget about everything else that you do. That's really where it starts, ground zero. It starts ground zero for leadership. It starts ground zero for everything else. So thank you all for sharing what you do. Maxwell, you got the voice for recording. Thank you for what you've done and doing this show. Thank you all.
Well, Enrique, thank you so much. I'll give you a nice big up one day, and I'll give you a nice voiceover for your site if you ever want it. All right, Enrique. So, Chris, we did say we'd do it in that order. Obviously, after that, if you want to put your hands up and let Eduardo know, I mean, I think it's really down to you guys. But, Chris, you've sat around the whole time through. I could see you thinking, looking at the stuff. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Maxwell. I mean, Maxwell, you do have a cool voice, but it's not a northern voice. Right, and if we're going to talk about British accents, then
I won't be doing that then.
The
I won't be
northern
doing
British
that next
accent
time.
is the
All right,
best.
I'll do a different one next time.
Right, thanks. So yeah, look, Enrique, we do need to catch up. I've got some thoughts on the whole. Is it leadership people? Is it top down? Is it bottom up? All that kind of stuff. I'll leave you with this little one golden nugget. It's not top down. It's not bottom up. It's middle out. And there's a whole conversation around the middle of organizations to be had there. I think what's been interesting for me tonight is even though a few of us have met and a few of us know each other, and I know Caro's not here now, she's dipped off, but I've known Caro for a long time, and I can categorically absolutely confirm she is completely nuts. Oh, she's there.
She's here. Back. I am here. Yes, I am here.
So yeah, you are absolutely nuts. I know that. What is really interesting for me is I think there's a trajectory that people like us go through in terms of whether being an entrepreneur, whether you then migrate to running a business, being a CEO like me, exiting. Eduardo and I have shared our story of just completely burning out and what that feels like. And the interesting thing for me is that now informs a huge amount of the leadership coaching that I do, because when you've been through that sausage machine, you have as a coach, you then have a perspective of, it allows you to be, from an empathy perspective, it allows you to understand what many leaders go through in a much more visceral way, because you've been through that sausage machine. And one of the interesting things for me is, Tristan, if you look at the psychology around leadership, when we get into, the psychologists call that optimum state of mind, they call it flow. So there's a real, from a leadership mindset perspective, there's so much synergy in this group. It's almost bizarre, because we're all strangers, yet we're all, many of us are strangers, and yet we're not. And Nalinava, I like everyone else, I do salute the work that you're doing. My dad died of cancer 4 years ago now, so having been through, another sausage machine of watching everything he went through in the sort of the 3 or 4 years that he suffered from 2 different types of cancer, and going through from a point of being given the all clear, and then literally a month or so later being told that it had gone from his lungs, got the all clear, and then a few months later it had gone to his brain, and literally within several weeks he was dead. So anyone doing any work in your space, like Eduardo says, and I'll echo his words, will shape the future and will save people like me and my family the trauma that we went through. And my trauma is irrelevant, right? My dad lost his life, so my trauma is insignificant to his loss. But the point is, the work that you're doing, is that pioneering work, is the stuff that will that's the stuff that makes a genuine difference in life. People like me and Enrique can coach leaders and help them make more money and help them build great cultures, and all of that's insignificant to saving someone's life. So I salute the work that you're doing. I don't have a lot more to say, because everyone else has given a good summary. Enrique gave a good summary. I'm just glad to be part of the group. I'm glad Eduardo invited me. That's it from me.
Well, it looks like Tristan's got something to say. So Tristan, over to you.
Thank you, Chris and Enrique. And I want to just, confirm that for me too. I lost both my mother and father to cancer. I wish they both had access to your treatment, because I have a best friend right now who's going through chemo and just had radiation. So it's so devastating to the body. So I think that what you're doing is absolutely critical and will be a lifesaver for many, many, many people. But also, don't forget work. Work is, we spend most of our day at work. Most of our living life, our day is at work. So having a better work culture, humanizing the workplace, bringing a better flow mindset, vibe, camaraderie, compassion, empathy, all of the qualities that you get from helping leaders and helping the workplace to evolve is critical also for our world. And I also believe that if we have the leaders of the world learn to meditate, that we will really increase the love on the planet. And that's, Glow's mission. So I'm really honored to be here with all of us. And I like what you said, Chris, about us all of our missions are really united in a very high level. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Tristan. I can see that Dalinav has unmuted himself, so he wants to have a comment there. I'd just like to say also to join this in. I know that Eduardo and I, at the end of some One Golden Nugget chats like this in this area, have got into these emotional areas where people are sharing these sorts of things. And on that basis, given that I have this gentleman here doing that, I'd like to share one thing with you, sir, going back in history. When I was in the music industry and an artist and doing all sorts, television music, and I was actually an artist and doing things, my manager was formerly ex-SAS, SAS, and I didn't know that until I did the eulogy at his funeral. This guy was 34 or 32, and he got told he had throat cancer and 3 days to live. But because of who he was, he said, you know all those treatments you can't give anybody? Stick them in me. I buried him at 58. And he was the guy who tested all the morphine patches in Bournemouth Hospital. He was the guy who had all the very first stem cell technology. You can check his name out. His name was Mike Parker. He was also Smiley Miley on Radio 1, who Chris might remember. He started the Radio 1 Roadshow years ago. He was my manager. I just wanted to mention that because those people who make a difference say, me. And that man did it, and that makes me cry. And there's a couple of people have had tears, and that makes me cry because that man said, do you know what? All those people need that help. Put it in me. Over to you, sir. I just wanted to say that. That's my personal bit. Sorry.
Yes, Maxwell, we can correlate that, of course. And the thing is, I actually was pursuing my PhD when my closest cousin sister was suffering cancer, and I was always with her at the hospital. And in India, the cancer hospital, wherever you move your head or look at, you see a cancer patient. And when I came back to lab next day or that same day, laboratory, I was feeling that the publishing paper is just not enough. We have to take it further. And that's why I looked for, when I did my postdoc, that the professor who exclusively making things better on this aspect. So I applied to those professors. And I was fortunate. I was hired by University of Cologne in Germany. And after that, we also published paper with further development, but it was not enough. But then I thought, no, I can be an academic professor, but I'll be publishing maybe 400 to 1,000 papers and get awarded, but still the problem kind of exists unless I try to assemble all the parts and orient everyone to a targeted goal. So that's how I wake up every morning and I feel for those faces. I have seen them in 2000, 2001 in Indian cancer hospitals. So they being kind of a driving force, I feel. And as Didrik's story, as Mendoza's story says, and all combined, I can actually feel for your stories as well. That like as Eduardo also mentioned, that even your close friend or your parents feel like, oh, you declined a professorship and went for an unknown path. So are you caring for your family or something? But I feel like, well, if I am with say good job to do, then I know something will open up kind. And then I take every day at my work, as you mentioned, Tristan. So at work and every day, something value I try to add, and that means development for the product as well. And our research is at the very early stage, so there were lots of questions from scientific communities as well. But the great thing is the major question were very closely answered by another group of professors from another country. But the publication talks and helps us to talk about our research as well. It's like supporting. So don't see anymore as competitor, rather collaborator.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
and thank you very much. And I'm sure that the investment, especially in immunology in terms of cancer treatment, is going to grow. I've had a lot of friends, certainly in the UK, who've benefited from that. So, Eduardo, your mic is muted, but we have a few people here with mics muted. What would you like to do next? Because it's obviously your call as to where we go next, sir. Your mic is muted, Eduardo.
I'm the only one not muted.
Okay. So Eduardo, we can't hear you, Eduardo.
You hear me now?
Yes, we got you now, sir.
Okay, I just want to share something with you now, so I just will make it official while I'm here. 1 second. Like I said, when I talk, people don't believe me. I said, like, I don't invest in technology. Don't talk to me about your blockchain because you will annoy me. Like, I am the guy that sees the matrix. I've been 1 year with Tim Berners-Lee in the future of the web, Solid. I want to hear, what do you solve? And who are you? Are you willing to get back on the horse the next day if you fall down? Because we will fall down. And I'm a true angel. And my friends will lift you up on that horse together. I will carry you. Even if I have a bullet to my leg, I will carry you. Because that is what they did for me. I will not drop all the names now, but people actually did that for me and they took nothing from me. That is the thing. So I gave back in another way. I just gave them what I thought they deserved, like in shares or like help their companies out, right? So I don't believe in people like, oh, I will help you, Eduardo, but you need to give me 5%. So let me share this with you before we end the show. Let me see here. How do I share? Here. You see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I committed to these investments and all of them will impact, they will rewrite the matrix. That's the common denominator. Kenny Kayao, he has an amazing solution. Eddie Wang is going to, he's on another level. He's going to vibrate the matrix of the metaverse. Yeah, Diedrich, my brother, and all of these people, and Nevina and Tanim, like a couple. Can you imagine a research couple that are doing this amazing thing? So I'm a man of focus. People, they believe that, oh, he's doing his poetry show, he's doing this and that. They don't understand. Like, I'm two-person. I'm like the artist, but I'm also, when it comes to operation, my friends, I'm the strategist, like number one. I'm the chess player. I want to win every game. Like, my family don't play cards with me because I get childish if I lose. Actually, if I lose, I will throw the card and walk away. So I come to them. They say, I want to play. They like, you can't play. I'm like, why? They like, you know why? Get out of here, right? This is me, right? So I will not do more than 5 investments because this is what I did. I give my heart full out. So I will only do 5. I have only 1 ticket left. I already signed for. And I have a bunch of people that are chasing me right now for that ticket, I can tell you. So the reason they got the ticket, I can tell you, was 3 main things. One, I believed in them. I saw Neo and Trinity in the Matrix when I saw them. I'm Morpheus, you could say. I'm on a hunt for finding the Neos. So they could have presented anything to me. They could say, like, you know, I have an idea. Yellow rabbits, Eduardo. I was like, let's go. They are the Neos of this matrix. I don't care if they have an IPO, patent, or whatever they have. I could care less, I can tell you. They are the Neos. Trust me, they will become big. Second thing that they did right is that they done the journey. I don't waste my time with startups anymore from university. I lost a lot of money on time with that. They have left the diaper stage, I would say. And thirdly, they understood the difference between VC and angel, actually. So that was the 3 nominator factors that made me took that decision. So 1 ticket left only. And we will do it live, actually, on AngelBay, because the 4th episode will be a live. It will be VCs, angels, and we will invest live on that show, my friends. So that is the grand finale of AngelBay. And after that, my friend, it will be amazing. It's like the Founders University first, and everybody here are invited to teach. Everybody here is invited to participate, actually, that are present here, because you are the start from here, or you're all like me, Chris, I would say, Enrique, Morpheus. And then we have all these Trinities and Neos, right? And also, yeah, Mariano, Carolina, Morpheus. We're going to change the world, my friends. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Well, guys, got to say to you all, can we have a round of applause for Eduardo? Because what a group of people he's put together.
Don't do that. I would be nothing without every one of you. There is no I in we.
Agreed.
There is
And
no I
so,
in we.
and so I was about to get to that because I didn't use the word you didn't like last time we were
Yeah,
on the
don't
show.
ever tell we.
I'm not going to say the other word.
Don't
So
say I
give
to
yourselves
me.
a round of applause, everybody, for
Everybody,
being here. Thank you very much. Chris, Didrik, Tristan, Caro, Mariano, Enrique, and Nalinava. Thank you so much for staying with us to this point in the show. And here at AngelBay episode 1, I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. I'm sure you have. We'll be back. There are 4 episodes. Episode 4 is going to be truly amazing. Absolutely. And obviously with Eduardo and entrepreneur.com, I've got to say thank you so much.
Entrepreneur Capital, please, not entrepreneur.
Sorry, entrepreneurcapital.com. My fault. I didn't. Do you know what? That was the thing. Didn't quite have that one up there. Until next time, I've got to say thank you so much for inviting me to host and be part of your show as well. And I leave just the very, very last word back to Eduardo. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Don't thank me. Thank you, everybody. Thank yourself. I'm just a chess player here that I can't play without you. It's impossible. And you're playing with me. So we're an applause for everybody again. Mariano, Didrik, you have a date. Make magic happen. We talk. Bye.
Bye.